Is that a typical thing, and this is for everyone in general, that there isn't a lot of rehearsal time?
I'd have to say no, just for general scenes. I mean, I think I've only had 2 rehearsals for a scene throughout the whole period of the filming process. So you kind of get on set and you have like a 5-minute rehearsal, and then you get changed and you just kind of go. So it's kind of hard, but it's good because it's spontaneous and you want to get the right reaction. You don't want it, you know, faked and played over so many times that you just can't. It seems so plastic, the reaction. You want to get a proper, true reaction.
So so you basically you go to your trailer, they give you a scene and you learn the lines, and how long then?
Schedule beforehand.
Yeah.
So you sort of know what scene's coming, and then but they do sometimes just like sneak in an extra one.
Yeah.
But here we won't go into that.
And how long do you get to learn your lines?
Well, that's up to you to do it,
Yeah.
really. But me and you sort of do it the night.
The night
Well, it depends how big the scene is. If it's just a short scene, then just the night before. But if it's a big one, then we sort of test it for. But sometimes we're not here together, so do it with mum thing.
And has it ever happened that you've made a mistake in the scene and they just kept it anyway and they thought, oh, that's grand?
Because you do it so many times, I think if you make a mistake, it doesn't really matter because they'll just turn it around and take a shot of something else. But I don't know. I've never really come across a mistake and then they kept it in and said, oh, I don't actually do that. I haven't. I don't know what I mean.
I think you do. You also do the scene so many times that that's the other thing. The great thing about working on Game of Thrones was that for the first time I came across the fact that it seemed like we had the luxury of time. You know, we weren't so much of the time. You're kind of wrapping things up and kind of finishing scenes. And sometimes rushing to finish them because you're running out of time and you can't reschedule for the next day. You can't push things back. But I don't know about other people's experiences, but it felt like we did have time, and so you do get to do the scene quite a few times, and so by doing it so much, you're almost learning it. So it's great that you don't know it so fantastically well because that thing that Sophie said, that it's really important for it to be true, and those things only come when you're kind of really in the moment and very present. But of course, as you're doing it again and again, you kind of get more comfortable. There's certain things that stick, other things that you keep trying, and hopefully that by the end of filming that scene or that bit, you've kind of got to a point where you've shot the best take, ideally. Not always the case, because there's always a million other things to consider.
And I think to get that, I think if you don't know your lines at the beginning, you'll know them quite in the end. but I think sometimes it helps to really know them, because then you can think about sort of acting a bit more, because when you're not sure of them, sometimes you're a bit like, oh, you just hope they don't start on you because you're not sure of the lines. But when it comes down to it, if you know your lines better, then it's easier to sort of let it go a bit more and free it up. I think that's how I find it.
I have a follow-up question for Sophie, if you don't mind, real quick. The scene with your confrontation with Joffrey on the bridge, which was just brilliant, by the way. It was goosebumps, everything. It was great.
Thank you.
You looked mostly beautiful, but facially you looked like crap. It looked like you hadn't gotten any sleep for 3 days. They had red all around your eyes. What did you have to do other than makeup? Obviously, I mean, you didn't go without sleep for like 3 days, right?
No, I can't do that.
Right. What did you do to get ready for that, to rev yourself up for the emotion of that scene? Because there's so many different emotions that have to sort of cross her face during that.
The thing with that scene is it's such a shock to Sansa that I kind of didn't want to do any preparation beforehand, and I didn't really tend to look at Sean's head very much, so that every time I looked at it I would get a genuine shock reaction. I didn't have to act much in that scene because Jack is petrifying as Joffrey. You know, there's a few heads on spikes. So that's kind of shocking. So I didn't have to do much preparation at all. It's just genuine shock and horror. I wasn't acting.
They do tend to try to make it like as real as possible for you there. Like sometimes they would sort of like CGI the heads in, but they're really there. So
yeah,
it's all there, and you think that they're not going to show it, but they do. Yeah.
We've a question from the stranger in the second row.
Me? I'm curious about your relationship with directors, particularly when you're working with different directors every time. What's that like? And have you ever had a special, relationship in terms of a really good experience with one director or another?
Sorry, I'm just going to repeat the question, guys. Just what's it like working with different directors? Because I believe many of the episodes have different directors, isn't that right? And do you have any great experiences with any of them in particular? And this could go to William as well as everyone else, I think, wouldn't it?
It could do.
It could do. And yeah.
All right. Okay. My experience with the directors, they do all have very different approaches to things. But thankfully, we've got a bunch of directors that are super confident about what they're doing. They know their stuff. Last year, Brian Kirk was the first director that I was working with, and Brian knew his stuff really, really well. And he's local, which is great. I mean, he had everything planned out, and we talked through an awful lot of the stuff, and we worked away on lots of the scenes, and he was very methodical. Dan Minahan, he was also incredibly methodical. I mean, Dan was. I mean, it was very funny. I would go on set occasionally, and he'd have the big, my boards up on the wall, and he'd be ticking them off, going, "Hey, look! It looks just like we've done, isn't it? I mean, we've shot it. It's the same. It's your shot." And I'm looking at this stuff, going, "Wow, Dan, it's my shot. Excellent." And I was thinking, when do I get to direct this? Anyway, so that was great as well. Alan tends to be. He's much more a guy that works it out without boards. I mean, he has a few sequences that he boards up, and the bulk of the time he seems to be just working with the actors and knowing what he's going to shoot. Who else did we have? Tim was great, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Tim and I went through the great snow scene, the opening scene, and. That was a fantastic day because we went out on location to work through all that. I took my sketch pad with me and sat down taking the notes as he's walking about going, "Hey, we could have horses coming through here." And then it would be like, yeah, we could kill those guys there. That would be great. Excellent. And so you'd sit down and draw it from the angle that he was talking about. And it made my life really, really easy. And I went back and drew up a set of boards for him, which he then presented to to our wonderful producers. And he came out and told me, "We sold it," and that was it. So it was great. I mean, he was again. This is a guy whose history is superb. I mean, he is. He's directed so many fantastic HBO programs, and. It's just he knows it all. That's the thing. These directors know it all in their heads. I mean, they can walk out on set without anything, and I mean, they could shoot this stuff. But thankfully, I get employed to do the storyboarding, so it's great. I still have a job, which is good.
Anybody else? You must have some great stories for us.
I have one with Alan. I really like Alan. It's always like, and Tim as well. Sometimes it's like pressure, and then he just takes all the pressure off your shoulders. It's things he says, like, "Oh, it's gonna be alright, like we can film most of it tomorrow or a couple of days after that." Like, he's not rushed or anything. Well, maybe he is, I don't know.
It's only a few $1 million, you can do it tomorrow. It's no problem. Christian, any stories?
No, I definitely think working with Alan is definitely more of a two-way street. And what we've done, obviously no spoilers, but what we've done for season 2 so far, I feel quite confident working with Alan. There's been a couple of things I've sort of actually said to him. Actually, I think Hodor would be more sort of this way than that way. And like, he'll say no occasionally, but it's a job. But yeah, it's definitely more of a two-way street. Obviously, my confidence has grown since season 1. I think I understand more about Hodor now, having read the book. Well, on Wikipedia. No. Really? I've read book one, and I'm sort of marching my way through. I'm not actually. Yeah, I have. And my mother is a huge Game of Thrones fan, so literally at least once a week she sort of spoils everything for me. And she has a Kindle, and she just searches for Hodor.
I always imagine they drive you about the set with sticks.
Well, not if I want to survive. Well, the way I see it is I've sat beside George R. R. Martin and I've told him I have not read his books, so if I can do that to George, I can do it to you lot. TBH.
Oh no, it's far worse to do it to this lot. I can assure you. And what about the ladies? Do you have any good stories?
Oh, I don't know about stories. I don't really know about stories with directors, but there was a really funny time when Arya shoots the bow and arrow, but they think it's brown. Yeah. When Isaac was jumping over the gate and running to after me, one shot I hopped over the gate. Oh no, I didn't. I jumped off the gate and ran, and all I heard was a and then like a couple of arrows just, and I looked around and Isaac was just on the floor, and he sort of jumped and then got caught because he had all the big bow and arrow thing in his bag on the floor, and then he just got up and like started running again. But no, it was really funny. But I think the directors make it really easy to sort of talk to them about it, and you can also put your ideas into it, so it's not just go on set and get bossed around like how people always sort of make it out to be. It's not like that at all. It's really nice, and you can. It's okay to say your own opinions, and they will take them in and change things to make sure your sort of opinion's heard, which I really like, and because then it's your ideas too, and not just what everyone else thinks it should be. Which is good because it sort of personalise it a bit. So.
Yeah.
Can Isaac catch you in a real foot race in real life?
I don't know, probably not.
Isaac is the clumsiest child I've ever met. I probably shouldn't talk about him when he's not here. Usually when we spend time together, I end up covered in what he's been eating. It's around me. If we go to a restaurant, if there's candles on the table, like, you think you were there that night?
Yeah.
Every single candle ended up on the floor. Yeah. Like it's sort of setting fire to you. He's a complete nightmare, but he's a great kid.
But that's why we love him.
Yeah. If there's a crash, you know who it is.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like burning ambition. All right.